Okay, again, we basically got our hangar all textured here. It's looking pretty good. And so now, all we have left to do in the textures is to create night textures for this. And so what I did here, I took our original texture. I forgot what, okay. And I went over here, file, save. I saved a copy. I just named it something different from the original. And so now I have a texture I can work from for night textures that's separate from the original texture. Now, first thing that needs to be done, I'm just going to go all the way to just create a new layer. See this, I'm just going to say night 1, something like that. I have added a few more guides just to make things a little easier to select. I'm just going to go ahead, you're just going to select all the areas, and we're just going to fill the entire thing with just pure black. Whoops, okay. Keep coming along here. This is going to be a very basic way to add night textures. There's a few other methods, but this I'm just going to show you this way today. In fact, I could have just went ahead and just selected all of that and filled it all in faster. And we just got a little to grab here. And down here, those guides really make it easy to select things real quick like. Okay, so now I just want to bring down the opacity of this layer now so I can just see what's underneath it. I'm going to select everything. Now to create some lights on this, so like this, I'm going to start out with this, I think I'll start out with this door right here. I'm just going to select, or this wall, excuse me. I'm still not entirely sure what I'm doing here, but I'm just going to kind of go with it. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I just created a new layer. I created a new layer above the black layer. This one. So I just create that. And I'm going to call this Night 2, just something simple. I'm going to take, I think I'll take the circle. I'm going to make it so that, stick it right about there. Okay, let's see if this is going to work or not. Now I'm going to go and select FG to transparent. Take the blend tool. I'm going to go from the bottom to top, I think. Yeah. Okay. Still not working quite the way I'd want it to. So I think I'm going to do, I'm just going to take the eraser. Whoops. I'm going to go back down to the black layer here. I'm just going to follow that line. Whoops. I want to do it this way. Actually, I want to just follow the outer edge of the eraser should follow that. I'm going to scale up the brush a little bit. A little more. A little less. Actually, a lot less. Okay. And I'm just going to take this selection tool. Let's see if we can get this to. Okay, I'm pressing down the control key to X off that selection there. So I'm pressing control, and then I'm just using the selection tool. So like if I press down control, you can see the minus sign, and you could go like this, and that would delete that selection. I'm just gonna undo that though, because I don't want that. This is the way I want it to be. And even then, now I'm thinking we don't even need the selection tool anymore. The way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to scale up this circle. Of course, we do want to select just the wall here. Hope this isn't too boring here, guys. I just coming up with ideas here, but hopefully that'll give you some ways to think about things when you're doing this yourself. I'm just going to go ahead and just take the eraser, scale up one of the circles. I'm going to click it right there until I think it's about where I want it to be. Yeah, I'm liking that. Put this one right there. Ah, that's great. So you kind of find ways, or easier ways to do things like this after you kind of think about it, and also it's like, yes, that's the way to do it, So just go ahead and maybe click the, well, I don't want it to be that sharp. I'm just going to do it about like that. They're evenly spaced enough. And then I'm going to just jump up to the door here. Again, I'm just erasing that black layer we put in there. Just going to jump up to the door here. I'm going to do basically the same thing, I think. Only I'm going to try something here. Here we go, trying something else. We're gonna take the aspect ratio here, and we're gonna just make this circle a little more oval and skinny. So it's not really a circle anymore, but you get the idea. I think I'll kind of go in between the windows. Okay, let's see how this looks. I'm just gonna go like this. One here. Let's do one there. I'm just clicking about twice. Seems to be pretty good. One there. Maybe even one right there on the edge. Why not? Not quite so bright, but yeah. That looks good. And in fact, I'm going to go down here to the door now. I'm going to kind of keep the same shape to the brush. I'm going to scale it down a little bit. I'm going to just click it right about there. Whoops, did we get that? We actually want to make sure we had that eraser selected. Let's get put a little light right there. But I think I'm going to scale back up the aspect ratio a little bit. Kind of just do it like that. Like that better. Okay. Now we've got this right here. Make sure we get the right parts selected. Okay. We're gonna do the aspect ratio back down. I actually like doing the brush like this almost better than the circle, but I'm just gonna leave it like that for the walls there. Just gonna give you different examples here. Let's see, I'm just gonna eyeball it to the edge of the roof line. Actually, I don't have to worry about what I could do now is take the freeform, hold down, let's see if I hold down control. Alright, so I just took the freeform, followed that roof line there while holding down control, and that just deselected the parts that I didn't want there. Just makes me feel better about it. Didn't necessarily have to do that, but I did anyways. Okay, let's go scale that up just a little bit. Back to make sure we have our eraser selected. Okay, let's give a little erase there. Maybe one. Maybe not quite so many on the back here. Just do one right there as well. In fact, I'm just gonna make this one a little rounder. Actually, I think it'd be a good idea. All right, and we're just gonna pop a couple on here. Let's see, decide what shape of brush we're going to use here. I'm going to bring the aspect ratio back down. That's good. I'm just going to put a couple. Click a few times. That looks pretty good. Alright. Now I just want to take care of these windows here. Let's see if I can find that let's bring the opacity down here. See if I can't figure out what layer this is. Let's see, which one? Always be good to name your layers a little better than I do. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to select the general area here. In fact, I'll just use this layer I had up here that I haven't used yet. I'm just going to select that. I'm just going to take my light layer up here I haven't used yet, and just add a little light in these windows. I might just change the color to slightly yellow in tone. Not too yellow or anything, just a little bit. Want to keep it generally bright. And maybe just take the blend tool, FG to transparent on the blend, and just go like this. And probably have to bring down the opacity just a little bit. That looks good. Just bring down opacity. And there you are. I'm just gonna repeat this real quick for the speed. Just skip through the video here and repeat this light for the rest of the videos real quick. Alright, so we have our okay, so we have our window light. I want this to be pretty low, not too bright or anything. And then I'm just going to duplicate this layer 5 times. 2, 3, 4, 5. And just copy them over. Take the next one. Let's see, there we are. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I'm just going to merge down all the windows here into a single layer. And so I think I'm also just going to make a quick window texture for for these windows right here. I'm just going to basically use the same concept as these. I just need a texture that I can, besides just Google SketchUp's flat textures. And after that, I'll finish that up, and then I'll see you again, and we're going to export this to Flight Simulator. I went ahead and applied a night texture, the night texture, in place of the other texture, just to see how it look. I'd say it looks pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and export this. I didn't make a texture yet for these windows, and that's, you know, I think you know how to do that now. It's not too big of a deal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and reapply the original texture here. Alright. And I'm just gonna go to File, Export, 3D Model, and I have a folder here. I'm pretty sure. I'm just gonna put it into the folder I've been using, I guess. Let's see if as soon as I can find it. I'll just use this one. Okay. I'm just gonna export. Whoops. Just export this. I'm just gonna go ahead and I had already exported it before. I'm just gonna replace it. Now we're gonna use this tool developed by RNOF, the fsdeveloper.com community. Be sure to check out fsdeveloper.com. I hope if you're interested in scenery design, I hope you've already seen checked out that place. You check out fsdeveloper.com. I'll kind of show you how to use Model Converter X, which, by the way, you can download at scenerydesign.org. Make sure we get that right. So I'm just go here. I went to the Wizards drop-down menu, and I said Convert and Place Object Wizards. Now we're just going to go ahead, go to that file that we exported. Let's see, what was it? Hangar conversion. I was pretty sure. Okay. Go open the DAE file here. MCX will read it, and you can see that it all imported correctly, so that's good. First thing we need to do is check for duplicate textures, and at least that's what the words I'm using here. So like here's material 1 is the our texture map, and then we got this kind of random texture here called material _1_0, and it's let me just say highlight selected. As you can see, it's on this face here, and it should be using this texture right here, and so it's just some I'm not exactly sure what it is, but something to do with the map, the way it's mapped in SketchUp, that makes it do that. And so what you have to do, you have to go back into SketchUp here, texture. We're going to go back, texture, position, and I'm just going to take this pen, click, drag, and then I'm going to click, drag, move it back. And that usually fixes that. So let's do that. I'm going to export 3D model, replace it, and reload it into MCX here. Let's see, gotta navigate to our folder. Let's see how that looks. Okay, let's see. So now we actually have 2 textures instead of 1. So we're gonna have to go back in here again. Give this let's try this. We're just gonna click, press the pen somewhere else, kind of move it around, and stick it right there. Again, we're gonna go over to the other side here, and while we're at it, I just want to delete the bottom of this. We don't need that. And for peace of mind, I'm just gonna take default color here and color the insides that don't need to be textured. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but we got a crop duster outside here spraying a field. It's fairly loud. So you're wondering what that, so if you're wondering what that was. Okay, I can do the same thing over here. Okay, I'm gonna put it back. See it? It shows you where to position the pin so it's still square. So that's why I can do that and get away with it. File, Export. Again, we're going to do this and replace it. Let's see what happens now. This is where it gets a little time consuming. It helps to have two monitors. You can really speed up processes like this. Okay, that fixed it. So just remember how I did that there. So now it's all in one material, as you can see. Exactly what we want. If I had the time, I would go in here and just delete any of the other unnecessary textures, like these right here. I want to fill these in, or make sure they're at least filled in. Like, let's make sure it's all good. Okay. And again, I'm just using the default SketchUp color here. So basically, essentially no textures. So that's all good. I'm going to go back to MCX here. And we just now we need to go into the texture material editor here. I believe it's this button right here, and we need to add our night texture to this texture right here. So we're going to scroll down, see night map texture. Now, if we were to try and load this texture from a different folder than this one, so let's say at the moment our texture is right here in a different folder. I'm going to go ahead and copy this. So if we try to add it from here, you see it wouldn't load it successfully, and so you have to go back. So what you have to do is be sure to place the texture in the same folder as the file you imported. So so MCX can read it. So now we're going to try this again, and it should load fine this time. Excuse me. So we're going to go to Hangar conversion. Now we have the texture in there, and we just reloaded it. Still having a little trouble. I'm going to try this again. In fact, what I need to do, I think what I have to do is erase that completely, then reload it. There we go. And that looks pretty good. I want to make sure that when we exported this, I should probably make sure that the night black texture here is set to all the way to 100% opacity. Now let's try that. I'm gonna export to our folder directly this time. And I just want to reload this. Just go over here, completely erase that, and reload it here. Just gonna load that. Okay, looks pretty good. So we're just going to go around here and make sure everything loaded correctly. Everything displaying nicely. So now we're ready to export this. Actually, I take that back. We're not quite ready. We need to now just reduce the draw calls. I'm going to set maximum texture size to 1024. I'm gonna say, actually, I'm gonna set it to 2048 just for good measure. I'm gonna set the add border to 0 pixels. I'm gonna say include repeating textures, and I'm gonna predict draw calls. Okay, so before we'll have 4 draw calls, and afterwards we'll have 2. So 2 less textures means better performance in Flight Simulator. So it's all good to go now. We're gonna show map. This always usually takes a second or two to load. There we go. I'm gonna zoom in here. I'm just gonna pick a spot to place this hangar. I'm gonna say right there. I'm gonna scale it up a little bit. I'm gonna scale up just a little bit. Generally, you make sure that you model your models more or less to scale in the in SketchUp before you try and export it. It's usually the best way to go about things. So I'm just gonna kind of just place it, and then I'm just gonna say check where our export folder is, and I'm just gonna say convert. And we should have a scenery and texture folder right here in our conversion folder here, and there's a day and night texture like there should be, and the BGL. So now I'm just going to pop this into our scenery library and load up Flight Simulator, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, we're up and running here. Just checking out daytime textures first. As you can see, looks like all the at least all the walls and textures are displaying correctly. As you'll notice, the textures aren't super sharp or anything, and that's okay. That's the way I expected, or at least the way I wanted them to be. This is made to be more of a kind of a background model, so it's geared more towards performance. But again, you know, if you wanted to make the textures high resolution, that's simple to do, and by all means do it if you want to. Just beware of performance-related drawbacks doing that. Yeah, I think it looks pretty good, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and change the time and season here. I hope this series of tutorials here has been a help. I'm just gonna let this kind of come up with something to say here while I wait for this to load. One thing I like to do in my next, probably today, so I can at least get some work done on my terminal here, is to create textures for these light pulse here, and I think that's what I might do here later today. So be sure to watch for that. I'm gonna go see if this thing's almost up and running here. Okay, here we are at night now. You can see all the lights that we textured or showing. The windows actually look pretty good. I don't like, especially in models like this, I don't like the windows be super luminescent or anything. And again, you know, I never textured these windows on the side here, and so they're obviously not going to show any light or anything, and so that's just something you are going to want to do yourself when you make your model. Anyhow, hope this has been some good tutorials, and have any questions, just comment or like and subscribe, or you have anybody else that needs some help doing scenery design, just direct them over to my channel. Right, see ya. That concludes this series of tutorials on how to create a basic airport hangar. I was just fooling around here with a little corporate logo, and nothing nothing too serious or anything, just something to keep me occupied. I did, however, create a Facebook page, which I'll link to in the description. There you could ask questions, make suggestions, or just support this ongoing project. Anyhow, you have a great day.